Yeah, it's down there. I'll get it. Thank you.
I have an extra.
Sure.
In front of him that features Michael Nuilo out of Georgia State. He was a fourth-round pick in 2014. Andrew Ribeiro, Donald Toya, and Fujiro Okiyama will round out the back four for Chivas. In the midfield, they will work with Carlos Borja, Marky Delgado, Chris Tierpak out of Houston Baptist, with Caleb Calvert, Brian De La Fuente, up top as the forwards. Our referee is Alejandro Mariscal, as Colorado in their Centennial State blue has Edson Buttle up top to start. And working behind him is Gabriel Torres, Vicente Sanchez, Charles Elundu, with the midfield consisting of Marlon Hairston, Jared Watts. Jared Watts actually in central defense. Hairston is paired with Juan Guzman, Grant Van de Castile, Chris Clute, and Albert Edward, a young backline for the Rapids in front of Joe Nasco. Great story. He was out of the game for a long time, just serving as a police officer down in Gordon County in Calhoun, Georgia. Still is a police officer. Rounded out in the second half and finished that game off against Salt Lake, which Colorado won 1-0. We are underway here from Tucson as the Rapids coming off the victory. They are 1-1 here in the competition. Chivas is 1-0-1. This is Barrera, Leandro Barrera, the Argentine of Argentinos Juniors. He's on loan. This is Hairston. Finds Clute, who really established himself last year as the Rapids left back. Mariscal is joined by Ian Anderson and Greg Bowles on the sidelines with the flags. Ricardo Salazar, fourth official in the technical area. Delgado. Right off the forehead on that diagonal ball. Elundu. This is Guzman, the trialist. He'll creep it into the space, and Sanchez, the Uruguayan, with a goal and 4 assists in 8 games played last season. Working it down, and in the end will roll out for a Dan Kennedy goal kick.
Well, Neil, you and I were looking at the lineups before the game, and we weren't entirely sure what Chivas USA was going to look like. And from here, it's a 4-2-3-1. In the midfield, Borja and Delgado are sitting both defensively. De La Fuente is wide right. The interesting thing is that Chris Tierpak, the trialist out of HBU, is playing in the middle. He's usually been used as a wide guy. And Leandro Barrera is wide on the left. So we'll see if they interchange it all or if they stick in those spots throughout the day.
Exciting game they played with New England. Came back from 2 goals down. Here is Tierpak, nearly dispossessing Van de Castile, the pick out of Notre Dame for the Rapids. Starting in that back line with Watts. Good little turn and play by Sanchez, but Elundu cannot connect onto it. Up there to take it away is Toya.
Well, we saw right there why Vicente Sanchez is one of my most underrated signings. The Rapids picked him up in the second half of last year, really made a difference for him down the stretch. He's on the older side, right? You wonder how his legs are going to hold up. 34 years old, but he could be a heck of an impact, both starting or coming off the bench at some points throughout the year.
Stops in Germany, Mexico, and then Nacional in his home country before arriving here. Cross, a little shy on arriving as Albert Edward blocked it down. He's out of Lindsey Wilson College. 4th round pick in this past January's draft. A lot of MLSers through either Jamaica and now Australia have made their way through that NAIA power. The veteran Buttle. There's the tag down. It'll stay with the Rapids as we're just underway. One of 12 games across the board as MLS preseason action winds down. Hard to believe. The opening matches coming up on 10 days away.
When you wonder how did we get to 12 games, there are several non-MLS teams involved, and Kansas City has 2 games today. They had a split squad take on Indianapolis earlier today, and we'll get you all those scores as the game continues.
Pablo Mastroeni, he's handling the first team coaching duties for the Rapids. They still haven't officially named their head coach. Typically, he's classified as a special assistant. For a Rapids team that lost in the wild card round to Seattle a year ago. Trying to build off a good 2013. Clute, a good turn, but miscommunication with Buttle. The big Nuilo out of Georgia State from the Atlanta area. We'll start it back across to the far side. There's Nasco. Kind of got a tutorial at the end of that game against Salt Lake from Kevin Stott. He was holding the ball. The new 6-second rule in place, and John, I know you're coming from the broadcast meetings, and that was talked about. One of the best segments of the week there is a discussion of the rules and new implementations.
Yeah, we got Peter Walton from Pro in to talk about some of the points of emphasis, some of the things they're looking to do, and of course just the refereeing plan in general, the additional full-time referees, the full-time assistant referees that are coming on this year. And they are going to look at that 6-second violation. It's not necessarily going to be a hard 6, but they'll keep discussing it pretty much with the keepers throughout the year.
De La Fuente floated that in, so an indirect free kick ended that game just at the top of the area, which Colorado was able to dissolve and went on to the 1-0 victory. This is Kennedy.
And when I say it not a hard 6, the way it was explained to us is the referee will signal the goalkeeper saying, let's get going, and that'll kind of be, you have 6 seconds from then, from the let's get it going signal or a warning of some sort to put it in play.
Tierpak trying to close down on Guzman, who's away to Watts. Rookie out of Wake Forest, 33rd pick in the draft. And to play Lundu. This is Marky Delgado. Down the I-10 where Nasco is out to hit it first time. Chivas will open their season on March 9th. That is Sunday. They welcome the Chicago Fire. They'll play later on this afternoon. It's the second game of 3. They'll take on the New England Revolution. Colorado does not begin on the opening weekend. They'll start March 15th.
And as if that weren't bad enough, getting the first weekend off, they have to start with the New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, on the road, and then return home to take on one of the Western favorites, their opener at Dick's Sporting Goods Park against Portland. Okioma, try and work that side with Barrera. So nestle back to Nasco, who's 29, but he's been playing professionally for 3 years. We mentioned his police officer duties. Here's Barrera again, and Tierpak giving it a lunge, but Nasco is out on the attempted danger here in minute 8.
We've already seen from Barrera the ability to put in good service, but also I've seen him, he makes good eye contact with his forwards, making sure they're making the run he's expecting before he sends it in. Obviously that one just out of Tierpak's reach, but you like the way he's interchanging with new teammates already.
Just 23. Over 40 games played for Argentinos juniors. Edward didn't expect that pressure, and it is from Barrera. And they'll hit a riser that goes off of the scoreboard. So the aforementioned Argentine active and taking advantage of the young rookie there, creating an opportunity.
You got to be careful there. That's a new scoreboard. That's less than a year old.
This field was dedicated in the fall and holds just under 2,500.
Chivas USA played in that first big game they had here in the fall, and
yeah,
FC Tucson won it on a goal from a high school player. So a little history in this building. Not all of it good for Chivas USA.
It is a great event. You know, speaking firsthand, Jay, just from last year and where you guys were located, as De La Fuente's shot is deflected, Guzman and Clute closed that down. So Chivas starting to find some fluidity in the attack. And they'll earn the corner here through 9 minutes.
For a little while we weren't sure who was going to take it, but I think Barrera has finally decided it's his responsibility and trotted over.
Well, with the maestro Rosales, who was so effective in that game Saturday, the beautiful free kick to win it in the 73rd. He's taking the day off today as Barrera delivers, and Nasco, who spilled the initial grab, is able to smother it back. To Birmingham Southern College back in the mid-2000s. Started up with Edward and Guzman. Watts. Here's Hairston. He's out of Louisville, 12th pick of the draft. Right at Nuilo. And on the scuffle, it's Toya back to Kennedy, who enters his 6th season with Chivas, 9th overall as a pro, the 31-year-old. Really the only constant.
Yes.
When you look at the positives of Chivas USA, and big news, of course, last week being taken over by the league, and today they named Nelson Rodriguez, longtime executive within Major League Soccer and the competition part, their president.
Well, and this is a move that everybody who follows MLS closely, everybody in MLS circles, has high respect for Nelson Rodriguez. So it's a move that obviously bodes well for this season and for the club's future. And I was thinking, just looking at it, comparing last offseason and the player moves made with almost every non-Hispanic player being shipped out last offseason, compare it with this year, where they've brought in, I think, players with a better chance of being successful, bringing in Mauro Rosales and bringing in, let's be honest, more diverse group as well. And it really feels like a much better organization already, and it's only late February.
You speak of a more diverse group. How about a Luke Moore, who was officially signed a couple of days ago? Striker spent time at Aston Villa, West Bromwich Albion, and the likes of Swansea City. So this attack with Rosales. Of course, Bautista's had a very nice preseason. Could be interesting. Cabrera's certainly been around with the U17s and has supplanted the flag in his MLS coaching run with a pretty good one, and Oscar Pereja is now down in Dallas. But the West is loaded, so.
It is, and every year we say, gosh, look at the West, LA, Salt Lake, all the Northwestern teams. But this year, the East has made the biggest news in the offseason, and you wonder if it's going to feel a little more even this year.
Elevating the expectations across the board in many places as the league enters its 19th season. Foul here. Go back to Colorado. As we're winding down through the first quarter hour, first game of round 3 of this Desert Diamond Cup. In the previous years, the first and second place teams would play in the title game, which is Saturday. But Chivas Guadalajara's U17/20 side will be here. And that would be interesting if Chivas were to advance. Now they need to win and then hope Chicago is to fall to New England. Be nice for posterity's sake. Of course, results in the end here in the preseason.
You don't have to call the game. Call Chivas against Chivas. So let's keep that in mind.
Here's De La Fuente. That sharp left foot. Looking for the youngster Calvert in the box, who was playing primarily with the reserves last year. He's only 17.
About to say, he is a big kid for his age, and a big prospect, and has big potential as well. Anytime you're signing a kid at 16, there's a lot of belief in what he's going to do.
Mention his size, he's 6'2", out of Wrightwood, California. Part of the Goats Academy for a couple of years now. Buttle coming into his 13th MLS season.
He was one. We went around doing the quizzes of MLS players. I'm sure you've seen him on MLSsoccer.com. Name the top 20 goal scorers in league history. His name did not come up all that often, but he is closing in on 100 MLS goals. 98 right now, 8th in MLS history in 274 career regular season games.
Baseball.
Had 5 last year in his first season in the Rockies. Career that started in Columbus, New York, Toronto, a couple of stints with the Galaxy, with Ingolstadt and Germany in between. And now a potent strike force up there with the likes of Deshaun Brown.
Gabby Torres.
Here in minute 15, it's a Chivas corner. De La Fuente as it falls through massive legs, and then Watts is able to scuttle it away. It's a light crowd for the first game of the day. I'm sure they'll be out in full force as the home team, FC Tucson, who's competing in the tournament for the first time since the inaugural year in 2011, plays the late game. It'll be their final, as they will not play on Saturday. Their season, the PDL season, is still a few months away from beginning. Hairston slipped but made a good turn out of it past Borja, but then gave it right back up. The former Harrisburg City Islander and Andrew Ribeiro. There's that youngster Calvert. Tierpak. Good weighted pass for De La Fuente. The cross, not what he wanted.
Yeah, and we saw another turnover there from Hairston, and he's a guy taken 12th in the first round. He's still only 19. He turns 20 next month. Couple years at Louisville, so you weren't expecting him to be one of those polished players who comes out of the Super Draft ready to step in right away. But it's still, there's still clearly a lot of work to be done there before he's going to be ready to contribute.
Guzman. Back to Nasco. Was a best 11 selection for the Atlanta Silverbacks last year. A couple of seasons with them.
I'm still trying to figure that one out. Kyle Rainish won the award, the Golden Glove, as the league's best goalkeeper, but Nasco was the best 11, so they found a way to honor two of them. And they're both in MLS now.
Sanchez lets that fly, and Kennedy has it with his sure hands. The UC Santa Barbara product.
It's a couple of good combining moves from Chris Tierpak there on the far side, the HBU product. He's not under contract yet. He's one of those draft picks from later in the draft trying to earn a... Hasn't done too badly in the early going today.
First team all-WAC selection at Houston Baptist.
I think he was all-conference in 3 different conferences in his 4-year career. He was in the American Soccer Conference, the MPSF, and then the WAC.
I know you've been able to see him play.
I saw him as a spindly freshman out of Dripping Springs, Texas, and I said, "There's no way this kid is going to be big enough to play at the next level." And he really has bulked up some and has maintained the skill. And I mean, his summer with the Austin Aztecs, I think, really is what put him on a lot of radars.
He was the MVP of the PDL. 9 goals in that run. Here in the 18th, Colorado looking to establish a little bit more on the ball. Torres, the club's first designated player. Couldn't snuff that out. Ribeiro, Borja, Inuilo. That's Buttle. Age before youth took it away from Delgado. And Elundu, trying to get the cross off, had that cut down. Watts knocks it away. Spectacular day outside the Sonoran Desert. 73 degrees at kickoff. For about 90 minutes.
So it'll be 73 degrees at full time as well.
90 minutes southeast of Phoenix. Guzman with the foul. Chivas USA, the free kick.
Had a lot of these set piece opportunities, and the last one was really good delivery from Barrera from the left. Something else he brings, as you mentioned, with the left foot that Rosales brings with the right. And having those guys out wide on either side, if he can find his way into the lineup, would provide pretty good options to set up Bautista and the other guys they can get into the box.
First game of this Desert Diamond Cup, a 1-1 tie with FC Tucson for Chivas USA. came back from 2 goals down to win 3-2 on Saturday in round 2 of action. Here's Barrera. That got heeled down by Calvert and goes out wide.
The Twitterverse is telling us Nelson Rodriguez is in the building here. We may have to try and track him down. No sideline reporter today, so that'll be a collaborative effort.
Big day for him. And the fortunes of the club as well. Second team in Los Angeles. Change of fortune, perhaps. Hairston. Gonna cut that down. Of course, everyone looks at Chivas USA over the last few years and sees their struggles. Just 6 wins a year ago, and the dissension in the front office and amongst the ownership group of Jorge Vergara. But go back to those Preki days, and you had a club that was competing for first in the West year in and year out.
Played the Galaxy in the postseason in 2009.
In fact, they were the #1 seed in the West in 2007. Clute. Ribeiro. Torres. Borja gives way for Ribeiro again. Herrera has had a positive start as we're halfway through the opening stanza. That dispossession by Edward feeds Elundu, and it's scuffed away in the end. Torres. Hairston. Good combination here, and Elundu just nicking that wide. It's kept in by Buttle. Running out of real estate, and Clute. To square, Torres not anticipating that Tierpak challenge, and the foul is called.
Well, we saw the danger Elundu poses, and it's a guy who Colorado fans spent the entire season waiting for last year. Signed out of Cameroon. He's still a very young guy at 19, and this will be his first full season. They finally got the deal done. He got in to train with Colorado last fall, and he's really had a good preseason, really lively, running at people, and has the great speed that it's pretty hard to come by.
Not all that big at 5'7", but has the wheels. 4 caps with Cameroon. So after that foul by Tierpak, it's Sanchez to deliver the mail. But instead, right off the forehead of Borja, who heads on out.
Doesn't he know I've been talking him up?
That's your guy.
I know, that was subpar. That's better.
15-year pro will cut it back on the right boot. And guided high and wide out of play. No mentioning Chivas, they had 6 wins, 20 defeats, 8 ties. They were 9th in the West. The league worst 67 goals allowed.
Poor Dan Kennedy. 3 years in a row he's had to make more than 100 saves. 3 years in a row he's taken more than 10 losses. And very few of those his fault. He's right, he's been the most consistent performer and still ends up with goalkeeping numbers that are not pretty just because he's had such a porous team in front of him.
Good tackle, Delgado. One of the questions will be their depth in that back line, which, as you were just alluding to, has been an issue in front of him. Mainly the outside backs. I mean, they've had Eric Avila here in preseason working at the right back role, but through the middle you've got Jean-Baptiste and Burling and Bocanegra.
Yeah, they picked up Tony Lockhead to play left back as well. They definitely have gotten better in that spot, but I agree with you that depth is still going to be a concern, and we're seeing some of it today, and guys who are trying to prove that they can be counted on for minutes this year.
Buttle, good knockdown. Sanchez going after it, but the flag up.
Well, our out-of-town scoreboard brought to you, as always, by MLSsoccer.com. 2 games already in the books today. We told you that Sporting Kansas City split squad was taking on Indy 11 from the NASL, the new team this morning in Bradenton, and sporting with a 4-2 win. Claudio Bieler with a hat trick. Now 2 of those were penalty kicks. And Mikey Lopez added the goal for Kansas City. Pedro Mendez scored both for Indy. A guy who's been around several spots in the NASL. The final, Kansas City 4, Indianapolis 2. And the other game, a little less to report on. Toronto 0 and Philadelphia 0 in the final group game in Pro Soccer Classic play for both of those teams. They both finished winless, no wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties. Scoreless between Toronto and Philadelphia.
Tier pack, a little bit of a hesitation. Full day of games. Sunshine State and here in the Grand Canyon State.
Underway right now, New York against the under-23 team of Brazilian club Fluminense.
Been sealed by Edward as Barrera trying to get the inside tracking.
Later today in Orlando, you've got Montreal against Kansas City and Orlando against the Columbus Crew. In Carolina, Seattle against Houston, Charleston against DC, and in Portland, the Rose City Invitational, Vancouver against San Jose, Portland against the Jamaican club Portmore United. That's your out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Neil Seekin.
Well, speaking of the Columbus Crew, they'll be playing in the final of that Disney Pro Soccer Classic for the 2nd year in a row. Under first-year head coach Greg Berhalter.
Speaking of 4-2-3-1 formations, it appears that's going to be the look of choice for Columbus this year. And I think that can work very well when you have Higuain playing that central of the attacking 3 role.
Because let's be honest, he's going to float all over the place in the end anyway. Nasco.
Might as well give him a position that demands that. Yeah, the only worry there, before we talk too much about Columbus, though, is that you risk becoming too dependent on one guy, in that do you have anyone else who can play that role as well as he can? But hey, if he stays in there, they're going to be contenders.
Buttle from Sanchez as they work down the middle and a foul called. Well, the wheels of Sanchez get going. He can still move at 34, and Buttle with some nice interplay there to lead to the foul.
Yeah, Nuilo's a big guy, 6'3", 205, out of Conyers, Georgia. And I think the mobility is going to kind of be the question mark a lot of MLS teams have that they're going to want to attack. And Buttle showed some quick feet there to get maybe a half step and get the foul call.
So Gabby Torres, 3 goals and an assist in just 7 games and 5 starts last year. In Venezuela before his arrival in Colorado. That'll scuff through, and Kennedy has to dive to his left to spear it away in the end. Hit a foot coming through that wall.
Great stop by Dan Kennedy. The biggest reason why, he saw it late. There was traffic in the wall from Colorado, and he definitely had a late reaction to get to his left on that one, and just didn't have enough pace on it because it was coming through so low and skipping through the grass.
So a corner kick for the Pids. As we're scoreless here, closing in on the half hour.
Holding jerseys in the penalty box, the other thing Peter Walton talked to us about.
What's the verdict on that?
You're going to see more of it.
Sanchez delivers this. Barrera will smash it away. Calvert out there by the sturdy Clute out of Furman. Andy Castile, part of that national championship at Notre Dame in the fall. And he's got a new friend, of course, in the reigning Rookie of the Year in Dylan Powers. We'll probably see a little bit later on. Slashed across, and we'll go back to Colorado.
In all honesty, the pushing in, or the jersey tugging on the free kicks discussion was mostly a, use common sense judgment and look for it in situations where it's clear. So it doesn't sound like all that different an emphasis, but believe me, they're being asked to look for it more.
What a nice pass. Hairston, and Kennedy has to come out. because Sanchez nearly caught the tail end of it. And now Nasco has to step up to the edge. Watch shepherding Barrera.
Well, I said we wanted to see more from Marlon Hairston. That's the kind of vision, that's the kind of touch and pass that made him a top 12 pick in the MLS draft. So they want to see more of that.
Now you see the speed of Alundu as he takes it into second gear and is ripped down there by Toya, who played with Phoenix FC. They're the third division club just to the north. We were pro side.
When we were down here last year, I think I saw him play for 3 different teams in the preseason. This is a guy who was signed as a homegrown player by Real Salt Lake out of their Arizona academy, and then last year was looking for a spot. Found one in the minors, and then it's good to see him back in MLS this year, but believe me, he has his hands full with the pace of Alundu today.
Still only 21. So the Rapids, they have been able to earn a few free kicks here in the final third. They'll see if they can take advantage of the latest from Sanchez, who is curling that to the outside. Kennedy, as well as a few white shirts, knocking that out over the byline. It is a corner for Colorado.
Well, that's more like it from Vicente Sanchez.
Steam that in there. Buttle was a little slow to get up, but now it is Torres to do the honors. You're in minute 32. Kennedy right on this one.
What the heck was
And
that?
stumbling as he came over the line, trying to toss that out, but going to get a yellow here. Did Sanchez interfere enough? That is indeed the case. He swung that arm out, trying to intervene on Kennedy's toss.
I got to be honest, it looked to me like Dan Kennedy stopped himself because he saw something he didn't like downfield and then got to the edge of the area and had to throw the ball down. I didn't think there was a whole lot there that warranted a yellow at first look.
So Sanchez with the booking here in minute 33. Well, with the season fast approaching, a reminder, every day is game day with MLS Live. Watch hundreds of live and archive games on your phone, tablet, or computer with MLS Live. Visit live.mlssoccer.com for more information or to subscribe.
It's one of the best investments you'll make. And no one's telling me to say that, but I use it just about every day.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. Especially now in the tablet era.
Yes.
Ball out. Toya, the youngster, to throw in.
It's an interesting look for Chivas USA because this is such a young group, and then you have Dan Kennedy at the back, and it almost has the sense of last year where he was the veteran, the experience at the back, trying to hold everything together, and they've actually done very well in this first half. They haven't been under siege. Dan Kennedy, until the last 10 minutes, hadn't had a lot to do, but as you would expect, he was ready when called upon from that free kick.
An all-star back in 2012, the keeper out of Yorba Linda, California, east of LA.
We always talk about what's the best route for a goalkeeper to develop and maximize their potential, because most goalkeepers peak later than field players, and Dan Kennedy didn't take the normal route. He went to Puerto Rico and he went to Chile to get games, and then when he came to MLS, he had a whole lot more games under his belt, was able to step right in.
Well, Buttle in this little altercation with Okayoma, who played at High Point in the South. He's 23. Was with the Charlotte Eagles briefly last year.
Younger brother Caro is a forward who had been in MLS camps in years past, but haven't seen him hook on anywhere for 2014.
And it is Buttle, the guilty party. De La Fuente. A member of that Chivas Academy system.
He's another guy like Toya, was cut after being signed as a homegrown player, and De La Fuente stuck with it in his own area and was able to, through the Chivas under-23 team, get back in the picture. When they signed him last year, he started every game down the stretch for him.
The last 11. There he is to set up Delgado's little clip into the area. Trouble clearing for Colorado. And Borja with a hit off Klute. Chivas with their third corner of this first half with 10 minutes to play in it.
Yeah, and I like the ball into the box by Delgado. He's another guy who's a teenager through that system, and he's one who's gotten minutes. You know, we have a lot of teenagers who get signed and you don't see him getting minutes. Delgado has, and he's done pretty well with them. I think, you know, the roster's stepping up this year, so it's going to be a challenge on him to keep getting minutes, but a lot of potential in Marky Delgado.
Here's Barrera, right at Nasco. Elundu was calling for it. Instead, it'll go the other way to Torres. Montoya steps forward. Too much steam on that ball for De La Fuente.
Well, not a lot of clear chances for either team in this one, clearly. However, the best chance was that free kick from Torres. We've seen a lot of set pieces, some good delivery at each end. And that save by Kennedy, certainly the play of the first half right now.
Now, Rapids fans, the first match at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in 2014 on Saturday, March 22nd, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Get your tickets now by calling 303-825-GOAL or visiting ColoradoRapids.com. First 10,000 fans through the gates will get a free Colorado flag.
State flag or team flag?
I'm wondering that myself. I am a fan of the blue they went back to honor on the state flag. And
yes.
these kits they're wearing.
I didn't want to ask you a question you didn't know the answer to, but I was so curious I had to check.
I was pondering that all throughout the day Saturday, but I'm glad you brought it up.
See if we can get an answer.
Of course, most of Major League Soccer's new shirts and kit unveilings next week. A lot have been leaked already through the Twitter sphere.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen any of them.
I can neither confirm nor deny that many of those are accurate, but got some smart cookies out there. 38th minute here. Desert Diamond Cup, round 3 of action. Neil Sika, Jonathan Yardley with you. Southern Arizona, spectacular Southern Arizona. Colorado and Chivas USA.
If you're somewhere in the middle of the vortex, we're sorry. Hopefully you were warming you up a little bit with the pictures from Tucson.
All right, let's hope that weather, especially for those games next week in the Midwest and out east, picks up a bit. Feels a little bit more like March. Elundu swaps sides here toward the tail end of this half. Now making the run and giving fits to Ribeiro.
And again, it was Sanchez finding space behind those holding midfielders, behind Borja from Chivas USA, and really putting a good ball through for Elundu. I mean, he's kind of in this, at least this group of players for Colorado, he's kind of the Higuain figure, that central man in the attacking three who pulls the strings.
Noelo on to Borja. Ribeiro. Young center back of the Atlanta area. Finds Borja. Calvert, sloppy second touch. Van de Castile, he's not afraid to put his foot on the gas a little, go forward a bit. Took that away. Guzman trying to connect with Torres. That Okioma has it back in his possession. A little bit much on that pass across for De La Fuente. 5 minutes remaining in this opening half. We'll see a host of new Rapids probably after 60 minutes. Chivas in this preseason, while they are 3-0-1, they haven't really been doing the wholesale changes as a lot of clubs have.
No, most of the teams not even on the lineup sheet for today's game for Chivas USA. They've only got 5 subs listed. Everybody else worked out earlier and is ready to go on Saturday.
A guy like Carlos Bocanegra getting rest.
See a lot of red and white polos up there. I'd imagine he's up there.
Probably talking with the new team president.
Again, where that sideline reporter would have come.
Tierpak. Going to go in field, and Watts rips this where Borja awaits. Into attacking real estate. Ribeiro trying to cut it back. Elundu thought he got one away there and was going the other direction, but Alejandro Mariscal, who's had his family in town and working in pairings and in trios, calls the foul.
Another chance for Barrera to impress us with his service. A situation where Argentinos Juniors reported it was a loan. Chivas USA hasn't announced the signing is official, but he's certainly here and is expected to be part of the Chivas USA lineup this year.
He's in a uniform and he's looking pretty good here in this first half. Off his left foot, delivering, and that is a good ball in, where it will be a corner. Last off of Watts of Colorado.
And that's not an easy header by Jared Watts. He's running toward his own goal, kind of looking over his shoulder for the ball, and was able to do enough to avoid that scoring chance.
Fourth corner kick of the half coming up for the Goats. They're in minute 42. Nasco two-fisted that out, and Borja with his back to goal tried to put it back on frame, but instead it is squirreled away.
Good use of the body there by Okioma. We could hear the Colorado players asking for a foul there, but he was playing the ball and was in the best position there on Elundu. I thought it was well done.
Sanchez. And a knife between two, and
that one, however,
it's called going through the tackling dummy. Borja brought him down.
Ribeiro's the one from Green Bay. I thought it would be him, but it was Borja.
Van de Castile. Watts. They were the pairing in central defense in the second half. Their 1-0 win over Salt Lake on Saturday.
Well, Neil, I have confirmed that it is a state flag giveaway, and that is David Lindholm, who has one of the best beards in Major League Soccer in the Colorado Communications Department, and he let us know. So state flag giveaway at the home opening.
Well, I think everybody wins. Get out. If you're a Rapids fan, who wouldn't want a state flag?
This is one of the most popular jerseys, just conceptually, from concept to implementation and how it works on the field that I can remember. I mean, it looks good. It works with the location. And hats off to whoever came up with that.
In their second year in this look, Kennedy launching it back into play. So we're still waiting for the breakthrough as we wind down here in the first half.
Yeah, and Tierpak's in this advanced central midfield role for Chivas USA. And this is a guy, whenever we talked to scouts before the draft, they said he's going to have to play out wide in MLS. He's not going to be the type of player to go into the middle. And I think we may have seen why a little bit today. He just doesn't find the ball quite as much, doesn't move it quite as well. I think the wing long-term is probably a better spot for him.
Torres in a crowd of two and then draws traffic where Hairston's the release valve. And a weak roller pushed off to the side in the final minute of the opening 45.
Whatever you would use as highlights, if you guys recreated them, it would probably be more entertaining.
The 6-second rule does not apply to goal kicks. That also came out of our conversation.
51-point season for the Rapids last year. Back into the postseason mix, but eliminated CenturyLink Field.
And that was one, Neil, where you felt like they'd overachieved a little bit, and everybody really felt happy to be there. And I think that won't be the case this year. Yes, there's a new leadership at the top, whatever that turns out to be, but I think this group is going to be a lot hungrier if they get back to the postseason and a lot more competitive if they do.
Stiff tackle by Watts, and
he needs to be careful. I don't know who he's clapping at there, but he's already getting a yellow card for the tackle. He doesn't need to pick up another one.
Harsh enough for the booking. The tackle on Tierpak, and then the restart into this first minute of stoppage time brings the opening stanza to a halt. Some free kicks migrating into the attacking third for both teams, but in the end, scoreless through the first half between Colorado and Chivas USA. This final day, the round robin stages of the 2014 Desert Diamond Cup. We'll come back, we'll analyze that first half, have the second half kickoff for you as well here on MLSsoccer.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to half field for the Desert Diamond Cup. 1v1.
That's probably the only hairdo I couldn't pull off.
Presented by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment. Two lucky fans have been chosen to compete against one another. They will spin around 7 times blindfolded, then dribble the oversized Desert Diamond Cup soccer balls towards the net. First one to score will win a gift bag from Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment. Contestants, are you ready? Get set and spin. Please stay where all the action is at Desert Diamond Casino Hotel, located just south of Valencia and Nogales Highway. Desert Diamond Casino and Hotel is the fans' hotel with fan packages available for the 2014 FC Tucson Desert Diamond Cup. And fans, a couple of scores from the UEFA Champions League today, just past halftime. Spoiler alert. Galatasaray 0, Chelsea 1 just after halftime. Also just after halftime, Real Madrid 2, Schalke 0. turn your attention to the field where representatives of FC Tucson are sending out Carp International mini soccer balls. FC Tucson thanks Carp International for their support of the Desert Diamond Cup. Bianchi's Italian, family owned and operated since 1977, offers delicious down-home Italian food. Pizza, subs, pasta, and salads, open for lunch and dinner. Bianchi's Italian, located at 1110 North Silverwell Road. FC Tucson thanks Bianchi's for its generous support. Fans, FC Tucson is sponsored by Budweiser. Make sure to stop by the concession stands near the southwest corner of the field. Bud Light, Pepsi products, as well as hot dogs, brats, nachos, and more. Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Back in Tucson here on MLSsoccer.com. Second half, Colorado, Chivas USA. It's round 3 of the 2014 Desert Diamond Cup. Neil Sika, Jonathan Yardley having some fun here in the southern Arizona sun as the team switch ends. 4 changes for the Rapids. Tell you about those in a second. Chivas remaining the same as they finished the first half, with the exception of Trevor Spangenberg, who's now in goal. As under the whistle of Alejandro Mariscal, will do the kickoff again. For Colorado, they have brought on the likes of Marvin Chavez, Dylan Powers, Deshaun Brown, and Dylan Cerna. Chavez and Brown called up today to their respective national teams. The upcoming FIFA dates. First week of March. Now the second half is underway. Barrera, and they're looking to down that near side now. It's wide on the far side of your screen in the first half. An effective one, but I think in terms of spectacular chances for either team. Set piece here and there as we await the game's first goal. Here's the speedster. Catracho, Chavez, Brown. He had the winning goal on Saturday against Salt Lake in minute 69. Edward is dispossessed. Tierpak. Smooth there. Calvert and him can't combine. Barrera. It's Toya. Okiyoma. Nuilo. This crossfield pass. Looking for Ribeiro. It's the young Chivas backline in front of the now young keeper Spangenberg, 22 out of Missouri State. He was at the combine for this past upcoming draft. Wasn't selected, was an all MVC selection his final year for the Bears.
MVC had some good goalkeepers. He and John Berner and Brian Billings are all down here in Tucson.
We're supposed to see Berner later. Here is Brown burning past the defense, and Spangenberg coming up big with the save. Just like the route that was leading to that goal on Saturday. Brown got behind, and Spangenberg the big save in the 47th.
Really a chance Colorado's going to want to see Deshaun Brown do better with. He's in all alone and really put it pretty much straight at Spangenberg, but the speed of Brown should give this back line a lot of trouble. Again, they're both bigger guys, and I think he ran right past him on that one.
Chivas with 5 points. Or rather 4 points through their first 2 games. A win and a tie going back to their opener against FC Tucson. A victory here. And if New England can keep Chicago at bay, would put them into the final Saturday against the Chivas Guadalajara U17-20 side that will play in the championship.
I'd say if this game finishes tied, that'll clinch that spot for Chicago.
Chavez off that ball from Nasco. Here's Powers, reigning rookie of the year. And the runner-up is his teammate in front of him. Came back from an offside position. Nuilo. Okiyoma. Toya and now Barrera. Good incising run, and Tierpak drifts out to float this, but well awry.
We've seen Barrera come inside a little bit more in this second half, just in the first couple minutes, and obviously he's on our side, so we notice it more, but he's not a guy who's going to be getting chalk on his boots throughout the game. He's going to come inside some, be a part of the central midfield possession, and in this case, Tierpak went outside on the overlap, but Barrera pretty versatile in there for Chivas USA, and he's also played up front in his career.
Guzman, who stays out there from his first half run. Chivas foul here. Guzman, he wears 40. Played at Liberty. He's been with the Charlotte Eagles, USL Pro, the last few seasons. 25. Trying to earn a roster spot.
He's been a regular. He's been 20-plus games 3 years in a row, which that kind of continuity doesn't always happen. Charlotte is one of the more regular teams in the USL in terms of keeping its personnel around from year to year, but Guzman trying to take that next step.
Watts, a little bit of space. Knocked down by Ribeiro. Borja and Hairston cancel each other out there. Nuilo. Big rookie center back. To Borja. Speaking of those Charlotte Eagles, here is one from the past, Okioma. Mazy little run here that he's taken in and across looking for Calvert. It's cut off by Nasco.
Nice movement upfield by Okioma. He had one get deflected right back to him, but he really made the most of it. And Chivas USA, again, he's a guy who was already signed. His first year in MLS, but was signed to a contract last fall, so he's set and in their plans. And the ability to get forward like that is surely one of the reasons why.
Opening 5 minutes of this second half. Chivas beating Colorado a few weeks back. Vegas, they also beat Real Salt Lake. Barrera is fouled here. So not too bad, a 3-0-1 preseason, but if you can even go back to the start of last season under Chalice, they played pretty well. They won 3 of their first 4 games. Everyone's thinking, okay, maybe they're not going to struggle as many had anticipated. Of course, the bottom dropped out shortly thereafter.
I miss Chalice anyway. Someone needs to hire him as communications director. I know he's got a job right now, but
good header, but it's wide from Ribeiro. Off the boot of Barrera again.
yeah, it's been kind of typical preseason soccer, right? The best chances in a lot of cases come from set pieces, which they often do during the year anyway, but even a higher percentage than normal from set pieces at the moment, and the service by and large has been pretty good. Ribeiro, another guy out of the lower divisions, former player at Creighton, who was signed to a contract, so he's not out here trying to earn one, he's trying to earn playing time. And it gives you a little bit more stable sense of mind when you've already got pen to paper.
You don't have that anxiety of adding more to your plate. Andy Castile has to get over and cut that off as Toya cut inside with the run. Corner kick coming, Chivas USA, they're 5th.
We've seen Tierpak wide on the left more in this half. He's still playing centrally, but he's making diagonal runs to the corners, trying to find different ways to get the ball.
Here it comes on the outswinger. A shove off. Willow pushed away as fell to an open Calvert. Nasco, the starter, coming into the Desert Diamond Cup. He had played 75 minutes in the preseason.
John Berner off warming up in the opposite corner for Colorado, and as Neil mentioned, we do expect to see wholesale substitutions for the Rapids probably around the 60-minute mark, but some may go a few more, a few less.
Brought him up talking about the MVC goalkeepers. Chavez. Almost as if he was barking for that call before Toya got to him. That's what Toya is saying, but the free kick toward the Honduran. Played quickly. Hairston and Guzman sitting in that 4-2-3-1, those dual holding roles. Guzman helped take that away from Tierpak, and now it's on the lookout for Torres over the top. Spangenberg got the second half in the win against New England on Saturday. Back at it. De La Fuente. Serna, who's played on the left side of midfield and now playing left back. Colorado's also done some experimenting out there, if you will. Nathan Sturgis makes an appearance.
I'd say they've been a little banged up in their outside back spots as well, so a lot of it's out of necessity.
Well, they re-signed Brian Mullen, who was playing there last year, but he's rehabbing in Denver right now.
And Serna's played there before with the U.S. under-20s as well, which is another team that struggled to find depth at the outside back spots. So good versatility by him. Again, you're a young player in this league playing multiple positions. You're doing yourself a big favor.
Danny Mwanga also nursing back to health in Portland. Choppy ball on that cross. Albert Edward knocks it away in the end for the Rapids. So we're coming up on the hour mark here in Tucson. Guzman is fouled. Watts. Toyon Chavez. Back to the rookie from Wake Forest. It's a lob back into the attacking end, and then it'll go off Brown. Stung the hand a bit. John, I hope you have your fantasy team ready, because it's coming up. Test your skills by playing MLS Fantasy Soccer Manager. The game is fun and free to play. Visit MLSsoccer.com/fantasy to learn more.
Neil, I don't like to give away all my tricks, but one of them is to not do it until very late in the preseason. I don't want to get fooled by guys who aren't going to be around or fake starting lineups. I know you can make changes, but I like to wait until I've seen as much as possible. So I have not set it up yet, but I will be trying to defend my broadcaster championship.
Here's a counter off what was an advantage. Cerna lost it, and De La Fuente went the other way. Tierpak.
Yeah, and Van de Castillo's gotten the best of Tierpak a couple of times now in this second half. You can see a little bit of frustration on Chris Tierpak.
And the College Cup All-Tournament team in that championship season. From the fall, Hairston. A little juggling act, and now Brown. With a bump from Okioma. Rapids thought, hey, where's the foul? Now it's called. Brown's speed, a pest for anyone. Now a caution given to Borja here in the 58th.
Mariscal pointed back toward midfield there, saying it was for an earlier challenge, and I'm afraid it was either an earlier challenge that I missed or else he got the wrong guy, because Ribeiro went in really recklessly around midfield, and we played through it, but Borja gets the yellow card in the 58th.
58th minute. Chivas USA's number 5, Carlos Borja.
So the Rapids, this free kick. And Chavez, Sterna, and Torres around it.
It was Torres earlier, and he went low, remember, to what would be Spangenberg's left.
Going forward again, well off. So Spangenberg. And 4 keepers here in camp. Larry Jackson, the other. He played the first half on Saturday. Kennedy got the first half action here this afternoon. Tim Melia as well. First of 3 from Tucson. Chicago and New England. The mid portion, Salt Lake and FC Tucson, the hosts, to round out the day. The final 3 matches. Jonathan, come your way on Saturday here in Tucson, a week from the start of the 2014 regular season. Chivas will make a sub here at the hour mark. They'll also have the throw. De La Fuente is going to step off. And we'll see Adolfo Bautista, who scored a few times in this preseason. Buffo comes on for Chivas USA.
I'm so psyched he's in MLS. Again, I've been saying maybe it's 5 years too late, but it's a personality, it's a notable name and a presence. I'm really excited to see what he brings. I haven't seen him play yet. I haven't more than a few minutes in some of the streams, so this is cool for me to see him here.
Worn the jersey of El Tri 38 times. On here last playing with San Luis in the Ascenso. second division of Mexico. Signed to the books January 14th. 16-year pro steps on the field with inside of 30 minutes remaining. Still scoreless here. Maybe his introduction, of course, for that ability to knock in the one they need to put pressure on Chicago going into that next game if they want to play in the championship. Chavez. There's some clutter with Brown. Now Hairston. Steering to the outside. Powers. Chavez with Torres. Open, put the flag up. The pass was a little strong too. Seattle won this last year. It's the 4th edition of the Desert Diamond Cup.
Oh boy.
And now, here comes the cavalcade. Colorado is going to empty the bench. As if you didn't know by Jonathan's reaction. But we'll bring in a host of what you could deem as regulars right now. Hairston gives way, so does Guzman, Watts, Edward, and Van de Castile. Nasco leaves as well. You'll have a new keeper in John Berner. Marvell Wynn and Drew Moore are your new center back pairing. Nathan Sturgis, the right back. Cerna still the left back. Nick LaBranca comes into the midfield.
With Jose Mari?
With Jose Mari, correct. Powers, Chavez, and Brown. This was the group they started the game with against Salt Lake on Saturday. So your veteran-tested 11 for the most part. Chavez. Guillaume there to cut it away. Now settled in central defender Wynn after years of trying to find himself in the early stages of his career with his speed. Held the bench in the middle of last season before regaining the confidence toward the end. Looking for Tierpak there on that Toya ball. That's Berner, who's out of St. Louis. Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, the Cougars. He was the goalkeeper of the year, back-to-back years, 2012 and 2013. So 23-year-old is now in goal for Colorado. Mari, slippery pass, which Delgado almost picked off. Powers responds. LaBranca, second stint with the Rapids. The second year of it. Here he comes forward. A little square leave off and Brown's speed, even his lightning bolt wheels can't get there, and Ribeiro knocks it away.
Really good ball by Chavez to find LaBranca to start that, and then just, as you mentioned, a little bit off, and Chivas able to get in there to clear it on the pass from LaBranca.
Delgado leapt to block that Chavez ball. Sturgis' cross is away with Wynn to keep possession. Yet unforced on the pass by LaBranca. Rutgers man. Just over 25 minutes remaining. Number 25, Toya. The lob in. Batista healing for the run of Tierpak. 40-yard run, but muscle and energy of Wynn. It's Tierpak in the end.
But you know what? He loses that. But he stuck with it the whole time.
Battled, yeah.
That's one where he's adjusting to the level of play, and to me that's a good sign as far as making the team, and that he didn't go down the first 3 times Marvell Wynn hit him. He went down after trying to hit Marvell Wynn and bouncing off him as so many do.
Once upon a time, the first pick in the draft, 2006, at UCLA. And Marvell Wynn Sr. The Cubs. Good ball here. Powers from Chavez. And the pivot is a beauty as he scoots over to find Torres, who basically passed that into Spangenberg.
Great build-up, everything right. I mean, the vision to see all that. I didn't think Dylan Powers saw the man at the far post. He did a really good job of drawing the defender before making the pass. If he makes that pass early, the defender's able to get over there and close it down. He drew the defender, then made the pass. Torres was wide open and just wasn't sharp with the finish at all.
Cerna. Little 1-2 with Torres. Going at Ribeiro. Running out of real estate as curl that in, and Spangenberg chops it off.
It's a little knuckle puck cross from the corner. If you can't get knuckle puck into a preseason broadcast, you're not really trying.
Delgado. Next thing you know, we'll get that floater from Henry Rowan-Gardner.
I will say, at the broadcast meetings, we were watching Little Big League, actually, and many confused it with Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Our friends from the Chicago Fire got a little mixed up.
All you folks out there, pay no attention. We're just cross-pollinating sports right now. Of course, baseball spring training getting going.
Yes. I might need you to give me a lift back to Phoenix and take in some baseball games. But no, one thing we're looking at here is that Caleb Calvert, who was playing up front, is still in there for Chivas USA. He's now playing wide on the right since Bautista's playing as the front man. And that one, the pass was really good. Marky Delgado had a chance to shoot. Instead, he played it to the corner. And Calvert, who's a natural forward, wasn't making the run before the pass was played. He waited until the ball was played, and that's why he couldn't catch up with it.
Chavez going head on at Toya. Toya holds his ground well, and the foul called on Chavez.
And so that's just getting more minutes in the different position. And as we talked about, for young players in the league, being able to play multiple spots and get on the field and be effective.
Moore. On down for Powers. Around time that run nicely. He'll wade to the outside.
Really seen good vision from Powers, and of course we saw it all last year, so it's not a surprise. But it's really a touch of class that we didn't see in the first half. He's making passes that are to unexpected spots.
Tierpak tried to lunge at that. It's back to the 10-year pro, Drew Moore.
Must be weird for Drew Moore to come off the bench and not play 90 minutes in a game.
Flag up. Right down below us. Chavez.
He had his streak broken last year of playing 160 consecutive games of 90 minutes.
Back to 2009 where he began that. LeBranca. Sturgis. Brown waiting, but carries too much for Ribeiro. In the end, the Rapids are attacking. That is where the wind will pick up as the day goes along, especially when the sun sets.
You got to bring all sorts of clothes when you come to Tucson. You got to bring the short sleeves, the long sleeves. If you were staying long, maybe the bathing suit. You got to be prepared.
And we're going the other way here. Bautista leaning into Moore. With the forearm.
We haven't talked about Chavez down here on the near side right in front of us a whole lot. He's really, to me, a huge acquisition in the offseason. He's a guy who didn't have the best year in San Jose last year, but what a potential producer in this league when he's on his game. And for this system, to me, he fits perfectly.
Big catalyst is Dwayne Dallas, who's in MLS Cup 2010.
And why San Jose won the Supporters Shield 2 years ago.
Swapped up for Atiba Harris in the offseason. Got an injury. Looks like Calvert is down. In the middle there for Chivas. They're going to make a sub right now anyway, and that will be for Calvert.
Chivas USA substitution in the 70th minute, replacing
Looks like Daniel Fragoso, he started against New England on Saturday, going to come on.
He's trying to become the latest in a trend of many this offseason Spanish second division players to come to MLS. And he turns 32 in March, so he's a little older than a bunch of the 20-somethings we saw come into the league last month with Christian Fernandez in D.C., Armando in New York. So he's a little bit on the older side. We'll see if he can make an impact.
So he's on here in the 71st. As the team's still looking to break this stalemate. Cadiz, maybe more well-known clubs, although he's with Barcelona B. His 14-year career. Or Fragoso, the newly entered GOAT. More. Win to LaBraca. Chavez trying to steer that inside, and it goes adrift. Delgado. Some fancy footwork to Tierpak. Bofo at the back post. It's wide.
Every time Marky Delgado gets the ball at the top of the box, I'm saying shoot, just hit it. And he's made 2 really good passes instead. He's proven me wrong. And Tierpak with maybe not the prettiest of crosses, but ended up getting there. Just might have put Bofo too wide of the back post.
Rapids have also brought on Samuel Galindo just moments ago. The Bolivian is 21. 5th year as a professional.
He's out wide on the far side in front of Serna, and he's got more size than I give him credit for. And really interesting chance to see if they can bring him to Colorado.
He wears 34th. Sim
takes a terrible first touch.
Going after Delgado right there. But he recuperates. Powers kind of laid that along the tracks for the Serna run that never seems to be ending. And then a karate chop to try and smack that down from Spangenberg, who's outletted all the way down to Barrera. Dance around Sturgis.
I thought Serna heard us and was trying some sliding practice for baseball preseason.
Feet first, you don't see that as much anymore either.
But I gotta say, Neil, if you come out here and you don't know the players that well from either team, and you're trying to figure out who's the starters and who's not, you watch the Rapids in the last 15 minutes, you know these guys are the starters. I mean, Dylan Powers, again, not to harp on him, but Powers, Chavez, LaBraca, even the guys out of the back, more winning the headers. It's a clear difference right now, and that's good in that your starting group appears sharp right when they come in. You'd like to see your depth perform a little better if you're Pablo Mastroeni and his staff as well.
Rohit Blancos will have the throw here, and with the exception of John Berner in goal, we do have the looking of a first choice group. Fragoso. Gonna restart things here just inside of midfield. Tierpak. Still scrapping and clawing. Mari's able to free that. Galindo.
That was the other one I forgot. The other Spanish second division player, Jose Mari.
Zaragoza was in La Liga for a bit.
Yes. Most recently, second.
The contract was terminated February 6th, so here he is, 26-year-old from Rota, Spain.
And again, they have not officially announced his signing, but it has been reported by a couple of different outlets that he will be signing with the Rapids and join them or stay with them as the season begins.
15 minutes left. Is there a winner in this one? LaBraca. Chavez. There's Mari. Trying his luck. Someone will have to climb a tree to find that one.
The shot was, shall we say, definitively subpar. But I like that he had it. I like the touch he had to set it up. He wrong-footed the defender. He got himself space. He was on his back foot, and he ballooned the shot. But the touch, the decision to take it, not too bad. Now, if he does that 10 times a game, he's not going to stay in the lineup. Don't get me wrong, but the willingness to take that shot is something I'm okay with in a central midfielder.
A foul here. On Mari. Bautista. So we'll see what Fragoso has in the offing. Will open the regular season on the 15th of March at New York. Chivas welcome Chicago on March 9th. That's a Sunday. See the Fire next against the Revs. Toya. Sailing up, and away on that. Back to Berner and company.
And Donnie Toya is going to be frustrated with himself after that. The whole set play was designed to give him a chance to deliver from the left. They changed the angle specifically to get him on the ball, and then he just drops the ball a little behind him with his first touch and really can't get around it to get anything on the cross.
Chavez. Duck in on that Fragoso attempt. Mari. Sturgis. Braca trying to time that up. Didn't work out. Okioma. Toya. This is Barrera. Pressure from Braca. Knocked it out. And for those Rapids fans who aren't getting enough of the team on this stream of the match, consider a trip to Tucson, either this preseason or next. Visit Tucson.org for more information on things to do in southern Arizona. Chavez whistled down by Delgado. He disagrees. Here on the 78th. If things hold this way, Chicago will wrap up that spot in the championship on Saturday.
That'll take some of the drama out of it.
Yeah. They are 6-0 in this preseason, 2-0 here. Sturgis clambers that with Toya meeting him there.
Maybe they don't need Mike Mickey.
You think his 21 goals last season, MVP honors, a guy who never bested more than 5, 6. Even if he has double figures again, that's still a pretty darn good season. Of course, the Fire end up coming short in terms of their playoff push. Got throttled by New York on the last day of the regular season after winning the 3 previous, but kept them out based on
the old goals scored tiebreaker.
Yeah, with Montreal.
Although were it goal differential, the more normal tiebreaker, they still would have missed out. So we can't argue too much there.
Of course, things didn't bode well for Montreal either. They went down to Houston. Here's Brown trying to tie him up his run. Does so, but didn't get the cleanest of first touches. He had to come back across his body. Galindo. Mari. Bolivian to Spaniard, and now Powers. For Brown, as the Jamaican turns out of traffic.
I believe that was Galindo with the left-footed pass through for Brown. It was really a good look, and one of the reasons he's played at high levels and is getting a look here.
The Rapids have had better of the ball here in the second half, especially since this group came on, but still trying to grab the game by the throat. Bautista to pick out Delgado. Behind and around Galindo as he whips it in and more away.
I'll tell you, Baffo's still got something.
This shot still has something, just wide.
And what I mean by that, he was trying to get on the end of that one and couldn't do it, obviously. But what I mean by that is, no, he's not late 20s. He's fit. He's not quick, but he has the first touch, the presence to hold off defenders, and it reminds you of McBride and Ching in their later years when they weren't as mobile. But God, could they bring teammates into the game, hold the ball efficient for their team, and move and spread it around. So I think he brings a lot. It's not just we're Chivas, we're bringing in Baffo. It's a guy who can help them this year.
Efficiency, veteran efficiency. That was Ribeiro who had the shot go stammering by. Eight minutes left. LaBraca. Sturgis. Brother went off his rookie season as the Miami Dolphins kicker. Here's the Clemson product. And off the instep, it's Ribeiro to clean it away. Souvenir almost for you.
Have you had one up here yet?
No.
That was as close as you're going to come, I think.
And we're not going to get a foul ball, so.
Our production crew got it in the end.
Dave Keeble and his staff doing a great job all throughout the month out here. Glad you're aboard on MLSsoccer.com. Winding down here in the first game. Round 3, Desert Diamond Cup, Neil Sika, Jonathan Yardley. Game 2 upcoming. Approximately 5:30 Eastern, 3:30 Mountain. New England and Chicago, and then we'll put a bow on the day with FC Tucson and Real Salt Lake. 10 days away from the start of the 2014 season. Here's Brown on the leak out. Rapids looking for a late winner. 3 for Chivas would mean pressure on Chicago to pick up points in the next game. Claim a spot in the championship, which is against the Guadalajara U20s with some 17s peppered in. Galindo. Look at that lanky dispossession. Ribeiro doing a fine job. He's been noticeable here as of late. Borja. Fragoso out there.
You know, we should say 8 of the 10 Chivas field players have played the whole game, so there's a noticeable difference in quickness, in legs, compared with Colorado at this point in the game, and they're playing a week earlier, their first MLS game, than Colorado is, so they need to be match fit earlier. And a lot of their starters are up in the stands getting ready for Saturday.
Fragoso. Borja. Patience exuded here. Nuilo. And diagonal for Tierpak. Squared for Fragoso. Toya. And maybe looking for that direct ball. Bautista, but it's not there. now build a little through that middle with Borja. Switching it over. Barrera. The oncoming run, that was Delgado. And a corner kick in waiting for Chivas USA. With 5 minutes left.
So Barrera's still in the game. He's been taking most of the corners. Fergoso's going to trot over and take this one.
Playing it short. Borja settled it. That left boot of Barrera. Cleaned out of there by Sturgis.
I thought that was one he needed to hit first time. There's so much traffic in the box. You've really got to let loose with that one, even from a tough angle, before guys can react to it. Unless you're counting on the deflection, but I didn't hear him call bank. I don't know what bank is in Spanish.
Have they played that game down there? That's the question.
Argentina's got more than a little basketball, I think.
That's true. Powers outsold that. Started Cerna on the path. Should Chicago lock up that spot with a tie between these two, both of them sitting then 6 and 4 points respectively, if it does hold as a tie. Or 5 and 4 points, that would...
I mean, they could be lined up for a rematch on Saturday if you went strictly by positioning. Honestly, you'd think there might be a chance they would switch up the matchups to get teams that haven't played each other to play, but that remains to be seen. New England could still put 4 goals on somebody and move up in goal differential. And Real Salt Lake obviously playing FC Tucson, probably no offense to FC Tucson, but it's a PDL team 5 months before their season starts or 3 months before their season starts. RSL could move up in goal differential as well.
Of course, FC Tucson won't be taking place in the games on Saturday. And that was one of the concerns, too. If Chivas and Chicago were to be in the position to play each other, since they're playing so close in the regular season, the opener, they would want to avoid that, too.
Whoever plays, we'll have it for you on Saturday.
Waiting for something to change the outcome of this one. Scoreless here in the final 2 minutes. Powers, Braca, Sturgis. Mari, Galindo. Surrounded on the outside. Some support from Powers. Win. Caught Chavez tracking the wrong way. Couldn't turn it around in time. Chicago Fire off behind that byline, waiting to take the field. New England is sitting off in the corner on the opposite end. 30 minutes in between games here. Ball hit the wrist. Bautista. There is the new signing. A couple of goals in this preseason. Cerna. One last thrust, perhaps, before stoppage time. It's Cerna on a good ball from Galindo. Chavez running on, calmly placing it wide. Might have been deflected, it was. And the Rapids have a corner kick here. As Cerna's run softly served to the spot. Chavez got there.
And again, Galindo with the entry pass that made the play, got Cerna in behind the defense, and again, a good run by him getting forward. Really good potential for those two shown just over these last 20-plus minutes.
Here it comes, and it is wide. Sturgis got up. The back of Ribeiro on Chavez's corner kick. Third for the Rapids.
Oh, we almost had our dramatic moment.
But that's it. It's official, round 3 in the books for these two teams. Colorado and Chivas USA play to a scoreless tie, with it Chivas to 5 points. It's 4 points now for the Rapids at 1-1-1. Chivas at USA 1-0-2, and that means the Chicago Fire will play in the championship game, the 2014 Desert Diamond Cup, on Saturday night against the Guadalajara U17, U20 team. Well, this one, Chad, it's set pieces and corners, but not much else. A late push by some Rapids veterans, or maybe the go-ahead goal, but in the end, it goes scoreless, and we move on to game 2. Final thoughts, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm just trying to process. I was trying to think of who stood out and who didn't show a whole lot on the day, and I thought, as we mentioned, there was a noticeable gap for Colorado between the first group and the second, and you expect some gap, but I think from what we saw of Pablo Mastroeni at halftime, he wasn't too happy with the group in the first half, or the first 60 minutes. So those are guys who are, when they get in the game on Saturday, are going to have something to prove in terms of trying to find playing time for themselves. For Chivas, young back line, to make it through the shutout, they're going to feel pretty good about. And I still like Boffo. His touches were class in the second half.
Yeah, Barrera had some good things going on in the first half. Tierpak worked hard. Now the Goats go to 1-0-2 in this Desert Diamond Cup, while Colorado 1-1-1. Chicago is now out to practice, get ready for their game against New England. That will move on to the championship game on Saturday. Speaking of Chicago and New England, we'll have that coming up for you shortly on MLSsoccer.com. Scoreless here between Colorado and Chivas USA. For now, for Jonathan Yardley, I'm Neil Sika. Back with you from Tucson in just a little bit here on MLSsoccer.com.